A room black as tar is where I sat. Or at least it would be had it not been for the dim illumination brought about by the night light in the corner of the area. Its luminous rays would delicately shift colors every few seconds, from red to blue to green to red once more. Their presence was a calming one, and yet it took all that I had to keep my body from quivering with raw terror. The outline of something sat about 4 meters in front of me. My eyes stuck to the figure like glue, for I wouldn't dare to strip my sight away from the creature which had frozen me in place with fear. Every time the light would change colors, the intensity of the beams it produced would increase. When the fluorescent shades were most vibrant, it allowed me a glimpse of the features of the monster, a gut-wrenching process I had the incredible displeasure of experiencing. I had thought I was conjuring a mirage in my mind due to the insanity of what appeared in my vision. As I stared at it, I felt as if it peered into my very soul. Its eyes, cold and lifeless, glossed over in a fashion not unlike a thin sheet of fog washing over a field. A thick stream of liquid dribbled from its still lip, and although the coloring of the light which it reflected off made it hard to tell, its color matched that of a blooming rose in the temperate spring air. As I bore witness to the entity which held my attention captive, I found the hairs on my neck erecting. Not a single window sat ajar, and yet the chills that rattled me were ever present throughout my body. I could feel my muscles tightening when the light shined upon the ghoul once more, revealing the messy hair, the lengths of which exceeded past the monster's chin. The curvature of the body was feminine as far as I could discern. Her skin was as white as the powdery ash that descends from the sky after the faint embers of a once blazing fire diminishes. She bore a petite frame, her appearance bountifully stocked with youth and innocence. She would have been beautiful had it not been for the eerie and even threatening mien she displayed. Something was wrong, and the dread that flooded the pits of my stomach made me aware of that fact. She hadn't made the faintest sound for the entirety of our encounter. The ambience of the night escaped me, leaving the surroundings devoid of all noise. The croaking of frogs, the whistling of the crickets, the quaint howls of the breeze which had previously rustled the leaves of the trees halted. At that moment, I felt my beating heart cease movement. My skin went cold, frozen over like a small pond in the crisp winter air. A thick pool of saliva clotted in my throat, and I forced myself to swallow it down. I gathered all the courage I could muster and broke from my state of paralysis and stepped backward. Never once did my gaze wander from her silhouette. Even when I could see her mouth agape, her lips stretched ear to ear to form a perverted grin. I never allowed her once to let my sight waver. My eyes widened, impossibly so. I launched backward away from the creature, crashing into the wall behind me. A deafening creak had shattered the silence of the room. I hurriedly threw open the door and sprinted down the corridors and into the living room. I rushed my way to the back door and grasped the unlocked handle, violently swinging it open. I could hear another door open from the hallway behind me. 2 pairs of footsteps rushed into the room where the monstrous body resided. Blood-curdling screams emitted from the 2 people, one voice deep and masculine, another high-pitched and feminine. Their shrieks were so deafening that I felt the very floor I stood on vibrating with a ferocity unmatched by even the thunder which cracked the skies open in the harshest of storms. First, they screeched in horror, then in pain, and then not at all. I darted into the woods, trees shielding me from the omnipresent moonlight. Millions upon millions of thoughts raced through my mind. Yet, one thought in particular stood out above all the rest. The creaking that I had heard, which startled me, was soon all I could think about at all. You see, the sound didn't originate from the direction of the girl in the room. It came from the closet, many feet away from her.